My name is Sophia Williams, and this is a story I've never shared before, not even with my closest friend. It's the kind of story you hide deep in your heart, not because it's wrong, but because it's too personal, too sacred. It's about someone who made me feel special in a world where I often felt invisible, someone who saw me when no one else did. That someone was my high school English teacher. I was just 15. Young, shy, and more comfortable in the pages of my diary than in conversations. I wasn't popular. I didn't attend parties or get invited to sit with the cool kids during lunch. Instead, I wrote poetry under the bleachers and spent weekends reading in my bedroom. Then came sophomore year. A new teacher arrived, Mr. Daniel Carter, and everything began to change. He wasn't like the others. His presence in the classroom was calm but commanding. When he read Shakespeare, the room fell silent. When he talked about symbolism in poetry, even the students who usually doodled in their notebooks began to listen. There was something magnetic about him, not in the way of fairy tales or crushes, but something deeper. A connection I couldn't explain. One day, he returned my essay with a comment scribbled at the bottom. "You write like someone who feels more than she lets on." I stared at that sentence for hours. It was the first time anyone seemed to see past the quiet girl in the back row. The first time I felt understood. That small note changed everything. From then on, I paid more attention, not just to the subject, but to him. The way he talked with his hands, how his tie was always slightly crooked, how he treated every student with respect. He made me want to do better, not for grades, but to impress him. I started staying after class under the excuse of needing help, but really I just wanted to talk to him. And he never made me feel like I was wasting his time. One rainy afternoon, we ended up having a conversation about dreams. He asked what I wanted to be, and I hesitated before saying, "I don't know, maybe a writer." He smiled and said, "Then write like your words matter, because they do." My heart swelled. Weeks passed, and the school announced the annual drama production. To everyone's excitement and my secret joy, Mr. Carter was chosen as the director. I'd never acted before. I hated being on stage. But when he encouraged everyone to audition, I found myself signing up without really knowing why. To my shock, I got the lead role. Rehearsals were long and tiring, but I looked forward to them like nothing else. We stayed after school practicing scenes, going over lines, and discussing character motivation. Mr. Carter had this way of making you feel like you were capable of anything, and with each passing day, my feelings for him grew. They weren't silly or childish, they were real, but I knew I couldn't act on them. He was my teacher. I was his student. There were rules, boundaries, and expectations. Still, I couldn't stop how I felt. One day, I was struggling with a scene. I kept missing my cue, and I felt embarrassed. He pulled me aside, handed me a bottle of water, and said, "You're allowed to mess up. That's how we grow." I looked up at him and smiled, my heart pounding. That night, I went home and wrote about him in my diary. How he made me feel brave, how his words stayed in my mind long after he said them. It wasn't a crush anymore. It was admiration, respect, something dangerously close to love. But I kept it hidden, locked behind silence. The play was a few weeks away, and with every passing day, our bond grew, subtle, quiet, and meaningful. He never crossed a line. He was always respectful. But sometimes, in the way he spoke to me, or paused during our conversations, I felt there might be something he wasn't saying either, and that scared me. Because in my heart, I knew I was falling for someone I couldn't have. The night of the school play finally arrived. The auditorium buzzed with nervous energy. Parents, teachers, and classmates filled the seats. My hands were trembling and my heart raced like never before. I peeked through the curtains and spotted him, Mr. Carter, standing off stage with his usual calm smile. Just seeing him there made me feel safe. Before I walked on stage, he approached quietly and said, "Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being present. You've got this, Sophia." Those words stayed with me through every scene. I gave it my all. For the first time in my life, Mr. Carter was more distant. He stopped lingering after meetings. Our conversations became short, professional. No more subtle pauses or thoughtful smiles. Just quick nods and polite words. I felt like I was losing him, and I didn't even really have him. After writing club one afternoon, I gathered the courage to ask, "Did I do something wrong?" He looked at me for a moment, eyes filled with kindness but something else too. Sadness. "No, Sophia, you've done nothing wrong. But we need to be careful. People talk. And sometimes, words hurt." I nodded, even though my heart sank. From that day forward, I kept my distance. I focused on schoolwork. I tried to be normal. I stopped writing poems about him and started writing about the stars instead. Cold, far away, unreachable. But even as I tried to move on, I couldn't ignore the ache. I missed his encouragement, his quiet guidance. I missed feeling seen. Then one morning I found a note slipped inside my locker. It wasn't signed, but I knew it was from him. It read, "Your words matter. Keep writing, no matter what." I read it over and over. My heart wanted to believe it meant something more, that he still cared, that maybe I wasn't imagining everything. But I couldn't ask him. I couldn't say anything. Instead, I tucked the note into the back of my journal and promised myself I would never stop writing. Life continued. The school year moved on. We returned to regular lessons, exams, homework, and slowly I became just another student in his classroom. But in my heart, he never became just another teacher. I didn't know what the future held, but deep down I hoped there would be a time, someday, when the space between us wouldn't feel so impossible. Time moved like autumn leaves carried by the wind, quiet, steady, and full of change. The final weeks of school passed quickly. My heart counted down the days, each one pulling me closer to the end of something I didn't want to let go. On the very last day, as students hurried through the hallways with yearbooks and laughter, I felt strangely still, like I was leaving behind more than just a classroom. As I was packing my books, Mr. Carter approached with a small envelope in his hand. "Don't open this now," he said gently. "Read it when you feel ready. Maybe not today. Maybe not even this year." I looked at the envelope, confused, curious, and overwhelmed all at once. "Okay," I whispered. That was the last thing we said to each other before I walked out of his classroom for the final time. That summer, I didn't open the letter. I couldn't. I didn't want to ruin the mystery or whatever soft emotion it carried. I placed it in the drawer of my desk, next to my favorite pens and journals, like a secret I wasn't ready to understand. Years went by. I graduated from high school, then college. I majored in literature, of course I did. His voice still echoed in my mind every time I read a poem or wrote a story. I tried dating, met kind people, even shared my favorite books with them. But no one ever felt like him. There was something different about what I had felt. It wasn't obsession. It was quiet, deep respect. And love. A love I had never really let go of. Then one day, 5 years later, I visited my hometown for the summer. It was a warm, golden afternoon, and I stopped by the local coffee shop I used to write in. I ordered my drink and sat by the window with my laptop. That's when I heard his voice. "Sophia?" I turned around, and there he was. Mr. Carter, a little older with slight lines around his eyes, but still the same thoughtful expression. "Mr. Carter," I said, standing up. I suddenly felt 17 again. "Daniel," he smiled. "You can call me Daniel now." We sat down and talked for hours. We talked about everything: books, memories, life, and dreams. It wasn't awkward. It felt natural, like catching up with an old friend who had once meant the world. Finally, I brought it up. "I still have the letter you gave me," I said quietly. "I never opened it." His eyes softened. "Do you want to?" I nodded. With slightly shaking hands, I pulled the envelope from my bag. I had brought it with me, hoping I'd get the courage. I opened it. Inside was a short, handwritten note. "Sophia, there are students who change how we see the world. You were that for me. Your words, your spirit, your courage, never let them fade. I couldn't say this then, but know that you were someone I admired deeply. Not as a teacher to a student, but as a person to another human being. I believed in you. I still do. D." Tears filled my eyes, not from sadness, but from something softer, understanding. "I always wondered," I whispered. He leaned forward slightly. "So did I, but I couldn't cross that line. You deserve to live your story, not just be a chapter in mine." "And now?" I asked, almost afraid of the answer. "Now," he said, reaching out with a calm smile. We're both writers of our own stories. And maybe, just maybe, we get to write one together. That moment didn't feel like a fairy tale. It felt like peace, like two hearts that had waited quietly, growing on their own, finally finding a place beside each other. And that's how it happened. Not with drama, not with fireworks, but with timing, growth, and something honest. Love had waited. And when it returned, it was stronger, braver, and ready.